What's going on? Hope you're doing well. I just checked the score on the Titans game. They have lost another one. My Nashville, Tennessee team is not doing great down here, but hopefully your team's doing well. If you're a Bills fan, you're really happy right now. Going to drink a little bit of Nashville Barrel Company 12-year rye. Next month's budget. This is our most recent Nashville Barrel Company pick. Not often that you get a 12-year cask strength rye. Just doesn't happen that much. This is 120 or 119.2 proof. This stuff is awesome. So going to have a little sip of that while we talk about distractions today. And in a funny way, whiskey kind of helps me with distractions because when I'm smelling and tasting and I'm being present and mindful about what's in my glass, I'm really focused on that one thing rather than letting my mind run free with a million different things. And we've got these beautiful little devices right in our pocket that are just full of distractions. You know, I can't tell you guys how many times my wife has gotten on my case about the fact that something pops up on my phone and I'm looking at it when I should be hanging out with her. Like that's the idea, is that we're spending time together. And she's like, "Hey, aren't we spending time together, or are you spending time with your phone?" And it's not just the phone, but that's a big part of it. And I think it was about 2019 that I turned off all my notifications for the most part. So I don't really get a lot of pop-up notifications unless you text me or call me. It's not going to come through. And the reason I did that, the reason I turned off all social media pop-up notifications and everything, was because it's nonstop. It doesn't relent unless you actually take the time to get that stuff off the screen. So when I have a moment to check those things on my phone, I will check them. When I have a moment to sit down at my computer here and check emails, I will do that when I can. But I try not to let that stuff be a distraction to me being present in my everyday life. I think that there's some very important things to note here. I mean, if you're watching this and you're from a younger generation than myself, you probably grew up around screens all the time and you don't know anything else. And I feel like in some ways that's good. It probably puts you further ahead in some technological ways than I might be. But I feel like the disservice there is that you don't know what it's like to live without distractions. And I see this in my daughter. You know, she's constantly distracted by phones and screens and this, that, and the other. So much so that we limit her screen time to keep her from being distracted, to teach her what it's like to feel bored, to focus, to work on projects that she's interested in, to think, to have space to be creative. All these things happen when you eliminate distractions and give yourself a chance to just think, to give your mind a chance to wander and see what you can come up with. And I think that's a really important thing. And it's a little bit lost today in a culture where all we worry about is how we can entertain ourselves in the next way possible, you know? And I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that, but when you end your day and all the day's been full of is either work or tasks or distractions, you haven't really had any time to just be. And that being is important. You know, you are a human being and you need a chance to just be, to be at rest, to be still, to really find out like where your brain takes you in those spaces. And look, if you're anything like me, your brain might take you to some kind of places that you don't want to be at, places you're uncomfortable being at. And that's okay. It's good to be uncomfortable in those places. It shows that there's things you need to work on. But if you're just constantly distracting yourself with your device, with social media, with YouTube, ironically, with whatever, you know, if you're just constantly distracting yourself and you're never really being present in the moment, that's a real problem. You know, it doesn't let you ground yourself and really take an inventory of where you're at in that moment. So I just want to encourage you to think about your relationship with your device, maybe device your life, at least for certain periods of the time. You know, put your phone in another room when you get home from work. or at least the last 2 hours before you go to bed or something like that. Do like I did. I keep my phone with me in case somebody needs to reach me, but all my notifications are turned off and I only check it when I have time to reply to things. I turn all my read receipts on so people can see if I've seen their text message or not. They may not get a reply for a day or two sometimes. It's because there's other things going on in my life, and my wife and my daughter take priority over everything, And then everyone else, I answer absolutely as soon as I can. But what that allows me to do, those checks and balances, those measures I've taken, they allow me to go to bed and sleep easy at night, knowing that I've prioritized my life. My communications are going to get dealt with over time. I'll check the social media stuff. I'll distract myself when the time is there to allow me to do that. But it's not going to be the thing that's constantly pulling at my attention, constantly taking me out of the moment that I'm trying to live in with the people in my life who I'm present with, either in person or, from the task at hand if I'm at work. And it's one of the best things I've ever done for myself. And this idea of this video came up in some ways. It's just because how I live my life, and I hear other people talking about how they're distracted and there's so much going on all the time. And I feel that too, even though I have notifications turned off. I have a lot of things going on, but I think there are people who could really benefit from this. So I really urge you to consider trying something in this vein, something that's going to help you. I think you're going to get a lot of benefit from it. I think it's the sort of thing that it's going to create the space and time that you need to prioritize your life and focus on the things that are the most important. And then everything else kind of falls in behind that. And it's a really wonderful thing. Speaking of really wonderful things, I'm going to take a sip of this. Cheers to you. Man, that is incredible whiskey. This is a barrel pick we did. It's coming out this week. Next month's budget, we call it, tongue in cheek. It's very good. It's very, 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 very good whiskey. Some of the best rye I've ever had. I'm very impressed with this bottle. Sitting down, turning off the distractions, sitting down with a glass of this is the perfect thing at the end of a day. Talking to you guys, I feel focused. I don't have my phone dinging. I know there's emails and there's text messages on there that I need to answer, but right now I'm here in this moment, talking to you, enjoying this pour, and we're in this together. And that is not to be dismissed ever, in my opinion. Or if I'm hanging out with my wife, that does not need to be overshadowed by distractions from a device or hanging out with my daughter. Think about those things. I really want to challenge you to go on some type of self-inventory, for lack of better words, of thinking about how you can eliminate some of the distractions in your life. I think you'll benefit from it. I really do. And I hope this struck a chord with you. Leave a comment below if you've done anything like this before, and if it was beneficial for you. Let us know down in the comments below. If it's something that you feel like you're really convicted to do after hearing this video, I would love to hear that in the comments below as well. Not trying to grow this channel, just trying to put my thoughts and my, whatever's on my heart and whatever's on my mind out there to you guys. This was more of a mind than heart thing, but I can tell you one thing for sure. My mind thought that I needed to eliminate distractions in my life years ago. And ever since I did it, it's put my heart in a much healthier place. And I want that for you too, if you're watching this. So think about it. Take on the challenge if you so choose. I think you'll thank me later. And you'll thank yourself more than anybody. And that's what's really important. It's not about me at all. It's about you and your life and your mind state and all that stuff. So we'll wrap it there. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a lot of fun doing this channel, and I think I'm finding my groove. I've kind of shot from the hip the last few weeks. I think going forward, I'm going to think things out a little bit more, and I think this video showed that kind of focus and that forethought as to what I'd be talking about. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to listen and go where I'm guided. I think that's the best way to live life in general. Hope you're living a good life yourself. Be good, do good, take care of each other. Cheers.